All right. Can anybody hear me? There we go. All right, folks. Give y'all a few minutes. We'll get some people in here. We will get some folks in here and get this party started. As you can see, we've got company tonight, so you guys be careful what you post, because those guys, they hate freedom. All right. I think we got enough people in here to get this party started. I was going to cover a couple things real quick. One is the Homeland Security alert that's been put out. And then there's some interesting information about snitches, which I'll get to in a minute. And business. For those of you that don't know, I have been busy starting a new business. And I'll tell you about that. Man, my hair's a mess. Since that last haircut, it's just not coming back very good. But it's starting to straighten out now. If I could just, man, can y'all see all that gray? Woo! Getting old, getting old, getting old. All right, let's get going here. All right, first off, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a terror alert over anti-government extremists. Basically, it's just the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has declared a nationwide terrorism alert last Wednesday, citing the potential threat from domestic anti-government extremists opposed to Joe Biden as president. Information suggests that some ideologically motivated violent extremists with objections to the exercise of governmental authority and the presidential transition, as well as other perceived grievances fueled by false narratives, could continue to mobilize to incite or commit violence, the department said. The National Terrorism Advisory System Bulletin said a heightened threat of attack will persist in the weeks following the successful presidential inauguration, which took place last January the 20th. DHS does not have any information to indicate a specific or credible plot. However, violent riots have continued in recent days, and we remain concerned that individuals frustrated with the exercise of governmental authority and the presidential transition could continue to mobilize a broad range of ideologically motivated actors to include or incite acts of violence. I'm going to post a link to this in the description so you guys can go read it yourself. Basically, this is nothing new. Seriously. Ever since I was a kid, there's always been people that were opposed to whatever government was in power, whatever president was in power. It hasn't changed. And, but now Homeland Security has an excuse to beat the war drums and pretend that they're actually doing something. These guys couldn't catch terrorists in a paper bag if they were all in the paper bag together. That's why they go after political activists. Peaceful political activists are targeted by Homeland Security. Myself have been targeted by Homeland Security and still am. But they want you to be afraid. They're going to exploit the current discord in the citizenry and try to make out like they're actually doing something. And in reality, they aren't. Nothing's changed. Nobody is any more likely to be violent now than they ever have in the past. So I don't really worry too much about that kind of stuff coming from the government. That's what the government does. Propagate fear. Propagate fear. Because the more afraid you are, the more likely you are to give up your rights, which gives the government more power. And that's what it's about. More power for the government. Next item of interest. So, I've been telling you guys for a while, and eventually I will release it. I can't do it right now, but I will release the FBI intelligence reports that I got on me. And those reports basically detail what individuals were recruited within this movement to be used as assets for the FBI or the government in furtherance of their agenda, which is, at that particular point, is to shut me down. You'll hear all these people saying, oh, no, there's no point to that. They would never do that, yada, yada, yada. Well, I beg to differ. So here we have an article in the New York Times. Proud Boys founder worked as government informant, according to a report. Here's one thing extremist group leader Enrique Tarrio might not be so proud of: being a snitch. According to a new report, the Proud Boys chairman worked undercover as an informant for federal and local law enforcement authorities after he was arrested in 2012. Now, I want to point something out to you. Everybody that is on the snitch list that I have were themselves arrested and made deals to keep themselves out of jail, to be government informants. And some of them are paid government informants. But in so doing, they became pawns of the government. Basically, they would come out and attack me. So, what did this guy do? Officials say Tarrio helped authorities prosecute more than a dozen people in various cases involving drugs, gambling, and human smuggling. This came from Reuters, which cited a former prosecutor and a transcript of a 2014 federal court proceedings. But Tarrio said his cooperation was news to him. Yeah, that's what snitches always say, right? I don't know any of this, Tarrio told Reuters when asked about the transcript. I don't recall any of this. But the former federal prosecutor in Tarrio's case, Vanessa Sinjohannes, I probably messed up that middle name, confirmed that he cooperated with local and federal law enforcement to aid in the prosecution of those running other separate criminal enterprises ranging from running marijuana grow houses in Miami to operating pharmaceutical fraud schemes. The right-wing Proud Boys organization has come under increasing scrutiny following its role in drumming up support for the January 6th U.S. Capitol building riot, which resulted in the death of 5 people, including a law enforcement officer. At least 5 Proud Boy members have been charged in the riot. Tarrio, who vocally supported former President Donald Trump's efforts to overrun the election results, did not participate in the government assault. He was arrested 2 days ahead of the unrest. Kind of convenient, huh? He was accused of burning a BLM banner that was stolen from a historic black church in Washington, D.C. during a December demonstration. The report said Tarrio's law enforcement cooperation in 2014 stemmed from a fraud case in which he pleaded guilty to relabeling and selling stolen diabetes test kits. I'm going to link this article as well. Let's get this off. There we go. So you guys go over there and read it. It goes into a lot more detail. But my point in bringing that up is that this is what you can expect from snitches. Deny, deny, deny. Meanwhile, they're testifying in court. They're talking to the cops. And keep in mind that, my little Deer Park fiasco, I actually have recorded conversations. Deer Park PD recorded their conversations with snitches that were being used against me. And there is a whole lot more to that story when we get there that you guys are just going to not believe. Not believe. Deer Park PD has tried to subvert the legal process by backdooring information to their snitches to publish. And again, we'll get into that later. But links to these, as soon as I get off of here, I will link these articles so that you can go and see them yourselves. Let's see, what else? All right, business. So, hold on. With the current leadership in Washington, D.C., already lining up at the door to infringe on your Second Amendment rights, I foresee in the near future that purchasing or owning a weapon for sporting or defensive purposes is going to be nigh on to impossible. That is their goal, is to make it so that you cannot possess anything that you could possibly fight the government with. So I got this idea. Hold on a second. Let me see what I got here. Confidential human. Shell owns Deer Park. That is correct. I am ready for civil war. I would embrace it, but I doubt it's going to happen. I mean, let's face it. Before I get to this other thing, let's just talk for a minute about what happened. So, right off the top of my head, so don't quote me on this, Sheila Jackson Lee of Houston has introduced a bill that would require people who own firearms to get a license to own firearms. Okay. And of course, that's going to cost you money, and part of that is you have to do a psychological evaluation. And then you have to license each individual firearm that you own. And then you have to have a license for the purchase of and possession of ammunition. And then they are banning any assault rifles style weapon. They are banning anything that has a magazine capacity, or they're banning magazines over 10 rounds, and they are saying that they're not going to have a grandfather clause, so you would have to turn in whatever magazines you have. And they can't, it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. If you own, say, an AR-15 and you die, you cannot pass that on to another family member. It has to be turned in. The whole thing is crazy. So here's what the issue becomes. You have all these pro-gun people, and I know a lot of pro-gun people. I am pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. Oh, if they do that, then I'm not giving my guns up. I'll fight. But the reality is that these guys are law-abiding citizens, and they're not going to fight. And they're going to, the ones that hold out and keep their whatever that gets outlawed and keep that, eventually gets caught and put in jail, they'll get you one at a time, and they'll erode that way. And that's what'll happen. I don't see people standing up and fighting. I hope I'm wrong, because this is the absolute epitome of tyranny, where the government, and this is nothing new, where the government just ignores the Constitution and ignores laws and just does what it wants. I'll give you a for instance on that. Some years ago, there was a court case. A gentleman fought to get his, because he was banned from having firearms. Went all the way to Supreme Court. Supreme Court says you got to give the guy his firearms rights back. Matter of fact, you got to give all felons, their firearms rights back. It's constitutionally protected. You must give it back. You've got it. So, Congress needs to fund a program through ATF for these guys to get their rights back. Congress said no. How does Congress say we're not going to give somebody their constitutional rights? And you got the Supreme Court, who creates the law of the land, saying you got to do it. And Congress says no. Well, that's what the government does. It ignores the law when the law is inconvenient for it. And until there are enough people that are upset about it to stand up and do something about it, it will continue to be done, and it will only get worse, not better. Now, enough politics and enough getting into that. It's not what I'm here for. Business. So for those of you that don't know, I've been a little out of circulation for this last week. I've actually been going on something I've been working on for a while, but it really has been busy the last few days, having to create some things. Basically, I am going to begin to market and sell non-lethal alternatives here in the area. I'll probably do it nationwide, but any place but California. What am I talking about? Let me show you. Oh! This is a salt marker. It's not a gun. Don't use the word gun. It is not a gun. It is a marker. Okay? It is designed to shoot. Well, okay, so it is based off of what is called a Tippmann TPX. All right? Which is a paintball marker. Not a gun. I know it looks like something off a RoboCop, right? It is a paintball marker, but this one is marketed for the purpose of shooting non-lethal ammunition such as these. Hold on, let me get one back out. I'll show you. Non-lethal ammunition such as these 68 caliber solid nylon balls. Okay, that weighs 4 grams and is supposed to move out of this barrel at around 350 feet per second. Puts out quite a bit of kinetic energy. This also shoots a 68 caliber pepper ball. And there are different kinds of pepper balls. This particular one is one of my favorite guns because I've used to play paintball, and I had a TPX, and it was a very accurate and dependable marker. CO2 goes in here. There's a safety right there. When you're ready to use this, you pull the trigger, that activates the CO2. And then every time after that you pull the trigger, you get a marker. You get a shot. All right? Unfortunately, Salt's version of that is not very functional. Okay? These things depend a lot on velocity. And so I'm going to rework some TIPXs and market those, as well as the Umarex personal defense weapons, such as this one. Okay, here's your magazine, which loads under here. CO2 goes in here. When you're ready to use it, okay, the CO2 is not pierced, so you don't have to worry about CO2 leaking. When you're ready to use it, you hit this button, okay, that pierces the CO2, and then you're ready to go. This one's in 50 caliber. And so that's another one I'll be marketing. And you see that's a very large item. And Umarex is coming this summer with a smaller version that will fit in the palm of your hand. And I have the first shipment coming in will go to me, and I have exclusives on it for 30 days. These are not meant to replace firearms. These are for people who see the need for less lethal opportunities. You know, we demand of our police officers that they make effort to not kill people, that they make effort to do other things before resorting to deadly force. Why shouldn't we? You know, why shouldn't we do the same thing? I think it's a good idea. Hold on a second. I got to change something over here. had the heater on. It's too warm in here. And for those of you that have never seen this kind of stuff, let me show you. This is another marker. It's called a Berna, and this is a quick demonstration that they did with the what they call kinetic rounds, which are those little hard balls, and then they use the pepper rounds as well. Just take a look at this and you can see what it looks like.
Stop, less lethal.
Now those were the kinetic rounds, the hard rounds, and they're going to do the pepper here in just a minute. Okay, and that is one of the pepper rounds right there.
Oh man, like I'm getting stung by 8 million bees. But the fight like instantly left. That hurt. Oh my god, yep, it's in my eyes. Yep.
Okay, all you military guys, y'all remember the gas chamber. That is nothing compared to what they have these days. They have OC, and then they have Pava pepper in the in these rounds. So it's a good alternative. It's a good first line, and then from there you go to other lethal options. And you guys are going to get to see my son as a test subject when we start testing the rounds. We're going to do some videos, and he's actually going to get popped with some of the pepper rounds, and because there's a lot of different brands, and we want to test to see, which are the most effective, as well as taking some of the kinetic rounds. So that's going to be, I don't think it's going to be fun for him, but it'll be something interesting for you guys to get a load of. And if you're interested in any of this stuff, I've got a website coming, and there'll be some videos, and you can take a look at it. And again, who would this appeal to? If you're opposed to killing somebody, you want another option. These don't take the place of a firearm. Make that perfectly clear. What these will do is buy you an opportunity to retreat, okay, or force somebody else to, depends on how, if you had a home invader and you popped them with this, if they can get away, they're going to run away. Failing that, you would need to retreat further into your home and resort to other means. Prohibited persons. These are basically paintball guns. Now, the ones that I will be selling are not what you can buy over the shelf. They are hopped up paintball guns, because most paintball guns are designed to shoot in the 250 to 300 feet per second range. What you really need for these to work effectively is something on the order of 350 feet per second or more. Okay, I have some of these that I've been tweaking and playing with where I'm getting right at 500 feet per second. Problem is, you expend your CO2 too quickly, so that's not realistic. Getting 2 shots, out of a 7-shot mag is not realistic. And these are not the only products that I'm going to have. So prohibited persons. So if you're a convicted felon or whatever, these are paintball markers, and in most states you can possess them. Matter of fact, all states you can possess them. However, carrying them is going to be a different matter depending upon your state. For instance, California, you can't carry them in public other than to and from, like a paintball match, and you cannot possess the pepper rounds in California. But most states do allow, most free states do allow the possession of the marker and pepper rounds, which are going to be the most effective rounds. Let's see here. Let's go to the chat, see if there's any questions. Your target name have a heavy coat or bulletproof vest. It won't matter. The balls will break open like a paintball round does on target, and then they create this cloud of dust, and the dust is the pepper powder, and it hangs in the air for several minutes. I've played with these rounds already, popped a tree, and then walked near the tree, and I'm talking 12 feet from the tree I was getting hit with this stuff. So it creates a barrier, and the person will have the powder on their clothes, so they will continue to get exposure until they shed the clothing. All right, and then the exposure, once you're exposed to it, especially if you get it really good, it's 40 minutes before you're coming out of it. Even a light exposure is 15 to 20 minutes of no can fight because I can't see or breathe, and that's it. Is Vermont a stop and ID state? I don't know. Google is your friend. I can't know the laws and everything. Citizen Z, yeah, I remember the gas chamber in the Army. It was interesting. What they do is they take you into this big room with your rifles, and then they move your rifles around, and then they gas you, and you have to find your rifle, take it out of the chamber, read the serial number, okay, to verify that it's your rifle, and if you got the wrong rifle, you got to go back in and get your rifle. It was not fun. Not fun at all. Hello, Crippy. Greetings. People will see what happens. Wake up, do your research. Oh man, I'm way behind here. Let's see. That's a long time to suffer. And it isn't pleasant. It is not pleasant. You can go into YouTube and search for pepperball deployments or whatever. Just search pepperball, and you'll find several videos, or a lot of videos, where people were popped with these things. And none of them are happy about it, trust me. Ogden, Utah, everything's going good. Yes, without a mask, Citizen Z. Wait till targeted energy weapons are standard. Yeah, I could use one of those. When are you going to get rid of the FBI agents in the background? Oh, I'll tell you what. Since they bother you so much, here, let's go get a nice sunset to soothe you. Sean, I'm such a big fan. I can't believe you just read my question live. Watch all your videos. Well, thank you, Sean. Have I seen the Walther PPQ? Yes, I have. Okay, so my thing with the Walther and the M&P that they have is the caliber. All right, the 68 caliber is quite big, and you know, if you're relying on kinetic energy or paintball powder, you want as much of it as you can get. 43 caliber is what that PPQ is. The one I just showed you a minute ago, that Umarex HDP, is 50 caliber. Okay, 50 caliber is the smallest I would go, and I would not recommend anything less than that shoots less than 300 feet per second. Ideally, you want to get closer to 350, 340, right in there. But if it's under 300, it's a waste of time. You may as well be throwing eggs at people. The powder may work, it may not, it may break, it may not, it may disperse, it may not. Kinetic rounds, really, they're going to be like paintball rounds, and it's not going to do you any good. You need the velocity, and you need the caliber, and you need the payload, all rolled up together. California's equivalent of 3802, I don't know. You just Google it. I mean, your ID law out there is basically, I do know that California is basically the same as Texas. You only have to ID once you're at the station being booked in. Okay, so you have to be lawfully arrested. Didn't have to do that with my rifle, but I must say, be passive. Yeah. And there's different kinds of pepper spray, and I will handle some pepper spray, but I'm going to be very selective about what I handle and what I sell. And the reason for that is very simple. You guys, if you're carrying one of these for whatever, for whenever, if you have to deploy and use it, your life might depend on it. And I'm not going to sell something to somebody that I wouldn't carry myself and wouldn't bet my life on as well. Again, these aren't your first choice for a weapon. They're for when you don't have another choice, or when you have the opportunity to use something less lethal rather than shoot somebody. The idea here is that, most of the time, if you produce a weapon, that will diffuse a situation and end it. Okay, if you produce a deadly weapon, and God forbid something happens that you're maybe accidentally use it, unintentionally use it, or you do intentionally use it and you're perfectly justified, you're still going to get sued. You're still going to have to go through the legal process. You may have to appear before a grand jury. It's a mess. It's a mess. The civil ramifications are ridiculous. So, and that's a justifiable shoot. Imagine if you shoot somebody under questionable circumstances. So this gives you another option that you can back up with a lethal option. Now, obviously, hold on, pull this up here again. This thing is huge. Okay, you can see my hands, so that gives you an idea how big this is. And I have big hands. All right. Here's a thumb drive to give you some scale. All right. You're not going to be carrying this around in your waistband. Okay. It's just too large. And actually, this one's, I'm going to be careful because that's hot right now. This one is a full-sized, same size as a full-size handgun. All right. Yes, you could carry this one around, and there are people that do. However, it's a little on the large side still. Again, see my hand? Scale. All right. And one of the things I do like about these is see if they'll show up. Night sights. Yeah. But the HDP 50 is actually very well made and very reliable. However, the ones that I'll be selling are not stock. There will be an option for modified versions. I've already have a manufacturer making the needed parts, the air chamber and whatnot, to boost the feet per second up, because this shoots a 50 caliber round, not the 68. We're going to get the feet per second up around 400 or more, and still keep the same magazine capacity with that one. Now let me show you again. To load this, you pull this back and lock it in place right there. Then you load the rounds in here. So once you have used this, you're not going to be trying to reload it to continue to engage a target. You're going to throw it at the target and turn and run. All right? Now, this one, and there are some others, is magazine fed right here. Hold on. I have to be careful because it does that. Okay, so it's magazine fed, so you can swap mags, okay, pretty quickly, and continue fire. The problem is it takes a 12-gram CO2 up here in the nose, and after probably 10 shots, the CO2 is expended, and that's all you're going to get. So even though you do have more rounds, okay, you're limited by the CO2 capacity. So there are tweaks to be done to keep your CO2 capacity up around 12, 13 rounds and still be getting 340, 350 feet per second out of it. And it doesn't work out of the stock marker. It has to be modified, and those will be what I deal with. If you currently own one of those and you want to ship it to me for tweaking, I'll take care of that. Now, right out of the box, brand new, I bought that brand new. It was not given to me for a promotion. It wasn't nothing. I paid for that right off their website, right out of the box, so I could evaluate it. 220 feet per second right out of the box. Okay, that is ridiculous. Ridiculous for one of those things, and almost a waste of time. I mean, it's better than throwing rocks, but not by much. So with some adjustments, I got it up to about 280 feet per second, and that seems to be where it's maxed out, and that is typical of a TIPX. The HTP 50, I should just keep these up here on the desk. The HTP 50 is advertised by Umarex to spit these 50 caliber rounds out at 345 feet per second. What I'm seeing out of these right out of the box is typically more like 300 feet per second. So it's doable, but it needs to be modded and cleaned up, and it will. Getting 400 feet per second out of one of these things is not difficult. There's just a few parts that need to be swapped up, and I have another one. This one's right out of the box, but I have another one that I have been working on that's my test mule that routinely gets 6 rounds out in the 450 to 490 foot per second range consistently. That's pretty quick for a 50 caliber round. Now the other one that will be coming, the compact, is the HDP compact, and you can't see advertising for it yet. I'll put a community post up with a picture of it so you can see. Basically fits in the palm of my hand. It is meant for putting in your pocket or your purse and carrying, all day long. And that is going to be the hot ticket. Police officers, if you're issued tasers, one of those little compacts would be perfect to back up your taser. Women, you can throw it in your purse. Guys, throw it in the console of your car or in your cargo pockets. It's very small, very small, and yet gives you 4 50 caliber rounds at over 350 feet per second. So I think it's a good option. I think it's a good thing to have. Let me go back to the questions. Slingshots with staples for a wire fence works great. Do you have a license for that ammo? You do not require a license for the ammo in most states. Starchild, how does it work when it hits a Kevlar vest? Okay, so this doesn't, again, other than the kinetic rounds, if you shot somebody with a vest, nothing's going to happen. They're probably not even going to feel it. It's the pepper rounds that are your defensive ammunition. And I want to tell you, because I can hear the anti-gunners now, or the oh God, don't give a felon anything to defend themselves with. They're going to use them on the cops. God help you if you pull one of these out near a cop. You're going to get dead. Okay? I cannot stress that to you enough. Don't bring a pepper ball launcher to a gunfight unless you just have no other options. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Rinwin, yeah, that HR 127 is the bill that Sheila Jackson Lee is promoting to basically ban guns. Umarex double. Oh, you got one of those. I've seen those double barrels. Oh, I send you a video of Victoria, Texas County Jail. Okay, Simon, send it. Bootleg justice. I've said the storm is coming for a long time. I'm ready. Yes. Does it come in a 12 gauge? Actually, it does. There is a new model of, hold on a second. Let me see if I can, okay, it's going to be hard for you guys to see on here, but hold on a second. I'm going to show you the new catalog for dealers only. Let's see, train, here we go. Right, full screen. Okay, here we go. Get it centered here. Now this is not released yet, and only dealers are seeing it. And again, when it comes to the United States, for the first 30 days it's here, I will be the only one that has this. So let's see if you can see it there. That is the Umarex catalog, and that is the compact pistol. Okay? And then somebody was saying, does it come in a 12 gauge? Well, funny you should say that. It comes in 68 caliber. How you like that? Let's see if you can see it. That is the new Umarex HDX 68 caliber shotgun. Let's see, what was the magazine capacity on that? Oh, 16 rounds of pepper ball. Man, that is not going to be fun for somebody. News Now Dallas. News Now Dallas is around. He's busy with life right now. That's all. But he's still around. 68 Kennedy stuff. So the Gun Control Act of 1968, for those of you that don't know, is unconstitutional. Pepper balls are 3 or 5%. They are the ones that I'm handling. There are others, okay, but the ones that I'm handling and testing are all 5%. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. That's right, Renwin. If they pass that law, and let's face it, they own Washington D.C. right now, so you can expect every unconstitutional gun control law that they propose is probably going to go through. I expect that it will. And then anybody that fails to comply with the new gun laws is a criminal. So all you gun guys that aren't going to give up your high capacity magazines or your ARs, welcome to the felon club. And when they and for those of you that think that they don't know you got guns, trust me, they know. You did a 4473 when you bought your gun, they know. You did a background check, they know. Got a license to carry, they know. You know, it's easy for the government these days to track who bought ammo. Whether they know you have a gun or not, they know you bought ammo. You paid tax on it. That's the other thing. They're going to require a tax on ammunition and insurance. You have to have special insurance if you own firearms. Thank you, Lauren Reyes, for the super chat. It's just they're going to make it so difficult that 4473 stays at the gun shop. Keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. What happens if the gun shop goes out of business? What do they do with the 4473? And their logbook. What do they do with that? I was a FFL at one time. Let me tell you what they do with that. They surrender it to ATF. That's what happens to it. And DJB says everybody's ridiculously fearful for no reason. I'm not fearful. You know, I chose my path. I'm not fearful of the government. I gave up being afraid of the government a long time ago. I mean, honestly, I fully expect to be murdered by some crooked cop. Fully expect it. Thank you, eyes all around. Cook County already taxes all the rounds. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the NRA declared bankruptcy and they're moving to Texas. Okay. I personally don't think the NRA fights for our gun rights, so I don't care if they move to Texas or not. They're not doing anything for me. There you go, Russell. Jen says they came and took all her vibrators. Oh, yeah, SD Barnes, there will be no person-to-person firearms exchanges anymore. All firearms exchanges must go through a licensed dealer so the government can track them. And when you do that, the dealer, if you have a magazine capacity in excess of 10 rounds, they're going to seize the magazine. And there's talk, what they're trying to do is not grandfather any of the banned weapons. Okay, do you understand what that means? That means if you have, say, an AR assault rifle and they ban those, you will have to turn it in. You won't get to keep it. It's not grandfathered. But generally speaking, I don't know how much of that will go through, but they figure, this is what Sheila Jackson Lee says, she figures it will take one generation to accomplish their goal, which is to get rid of most all guns. Period. She's honest about it. She doesn't, there ain't no shame in her game. She doesn't care if you have a gun to defend your life. She's got Secret Service protection. She doesn't care if you have a gun to protect her life. She's got guns. Matter of fact, she doesn't want you to have guns because she has guns. And that's just how it is. That's like most of these politicians in Washington. This is why Congress doesn't retire to Social Security and Medicaid. They have their own retirement. And that's why Medicaid and Social Security is so screwed up, because they don't have to live on it. And it's the same thing when it comes to guns. They will take all your guns. They'll keep theirs. They'll keep their Secret Service protection. But you can't have it. Okay? This is what you get when the government doesn't fear you. That's what's the old saying? When people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is freedom. There's truth to that. There's absolute truth to that. So, all right, one more quick look at the questions, and then I'm going to get off of here. Slow down here. Take the guns from police first. No, they're arming the police at a record rate. Dems own Congress, the House, the Senate, and Biden. Yes, exactly. 3D printer. That's an interesting thing, Rebel, except for one thing. You're still going to need a barrel. Still going to need ammo. And these things are going to be in short supply. Difficult to get if you can get them at all. Exactly, Steve. Ronald Reagan said we are never more than one generation away from losing our freedom. And guys, if you think that there is not a battle for your freedom right now, if you think that the government is not coming after your liberties right now, you are mistaken. Okay, let's see. Trump is the Messiah. Whatever. A VKS was, okay. Citizen Z, 10 to 28 joules. Nice. You'll never get Sheila Jackson Lee out of office. She is in an area of Houston that is, they are devout Democrats. I mean, you think that the Trumpeteers are, and I've been calling them Trumpeteers since the very beginning. That's not something I just made up. You think the Trumpeteers are devoted to Donald. Well, the Dems in that area where Sheila Jackson Lee comes from are 10 times as worse. 10 times as bad. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off of here. I got to get if you want to see those stories I was just talking about, there will be links in the description as soon as I get off of here. So you can go check those out. And for those of you that are interested, you can email me about self-defense markers. I'll answer your questions as best I can. And I'll be doing sales the 1st of March. So I'll have the website up and actual sales. If you own a marker that you need tuned, okay, a TIPX or an FSC or one of the Tiberius. I don't really like the Tiberius, but the FSC or the Tipman, TIPX. There will be services for that, and they'll be listed on the website. But if you're interested, you can reach out to me beforehand, and I'll cover that with you. That is it, guys. I will be on the streets this week, fishing for tyrants. And if you've been watching any length of time, you know just what that means. Y'all be safe. Have a good Saturday night, and I will see you again.